There we go. Excellent. Hello, Senator.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm very well.
Glad to hear it. So I guess I'm not technically calling a meeting to order, but a gathering of those who were able to attend HEAC today.
Do you have to read that emergency order number 12? Is this a board that you have to do that with?
Oh, to be honest, I do not know if I need to do that.
The public is invited, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the river meeting that I attend and the local advisory river meeting that I attend, plus, of course, the regular hearings, we have to read. We are not meeting in a specified place. We're doing this according to Zoom because of the governor's emergency order number 12, and then they go through and then to take a roll call in the beginning, who is there, and every time you take a vote, you have to have a roll call vote. So I just bring this up to your attention because I don't know if you are
The legislature.
under that. If you have a caucus that is public, is not invited, then you don't have to think about it. But any official thing, that's my understanding.
Okay, and that's for any meeting that's now being held over Zoom.
Pardon?
Is that now for any meeting that's being
Oh,
held?
it has been like that for a long time.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just curious whether you're exempt from it or not. I would just double check.
We're an advisory council. We are not a legislative body.
No, but you're part of the DOE. It's underneath the DOE, right? And our local advisory board for the rivers comes under the DES, and we have to do it. So I just don't want you to be caught short or something. So
follow it even if we're not absolutely required to. I think it's a good idea. It doesn't seem to be onerous or anything. It just seems to make things a little clearer. By the way, if you're a member of the public, how do you get in?
To this meeting?
Yeah.
When the link, they now require that I post not just a link, but also the meeting room and password. So where those were posted, which was on the DOE website and then on Facebook, those things were included.
Okay.
now just double check, just to,
Yeah, I'm trying to look up emergency order 12 right now, but I believe I have the wrong one because this pertains to public health, and that's all right. So thank you, Senator Ward. I will look into that
Okay.
to see if HEAC is subject to that as well.
And I have one more thing. I don't know if I have been reappointed. I heard the staff has a horrible time getting into the State House. They're just allowed in there for very short times. So they have not been able to send out any kinds of notifications. So I'm assuming, unless I hear otherwise, I will show up when I can.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate that. We're happy to have you.
Good.
I am glad. And so just for the record, in attendance, we have Catherine Michelotti, Jennifer Pereira, Stephanie Marsh, George Durazio, Senator Ruth Ward, and from the public, Michelle Lavelle. We might have Mike Koski joining us later. So for a small rules update, rules passed GELCAR in December, yay. And then from there, my understanding is that after 45 days, they go into effect. Is that your understanding, Senator?
Whatever they say is my understanding.
Okay. So go ahead, George.
That's what I seem to remember.
Okay. So we can disseminate that information out to our various homeschool groups that the new ED 315 rules have been rewritten and approved. They have hopefully made the law a little bit more clear and hopefully protected homeschoolers with what we've been able to do. And so congratulations, everyone, because that was a long couple of years and you all worked very, very hard on many rewrites. So thank you very much for everyone who put extra time and effort into those rules, because homeschoolers are going to be needing them. So thank you.
Do you know what the date is that they were passed? So we'd have the 45 days after? Just thinking, should I put that in the note?
Yes.
Sure. The date that I have is the 17th of December.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Does that sound right, Senator, or was it the 16th?
No, I think that's right.
Yeah, okay.
Because I know it was not part of this last jail card, so it's got to be December.
Yeah. So it was the 16th or 17th. Thank you, Steph, for clarifying that. 17th, okay. And as for an update on the IHBG policy, I was not able to put everyone's notes into one thing before it needed to be sent. So I ended up dropping the ball on that one, but there was an organization that reached out, and the organization's name is SDGA. Michelle knows a bit more about them, but they had reached out to ask for an alternative policy. And so Michelle and a few other people at Granite State Home Educators, right? Or was it just Michelle? Pretty much just Michelle. It was Michelle. Helped write an alternative policy at their request, which has been sent out. And those are pretty much the only updates I have from me.
I have a question about that.
Yes.
I remember, at least in my comments, I was mainly a little frustrated because they didn't talk much about the duties of the agencies. But then I also know, it seemed in the notes, we were also talking about high school credit. So I wonder if Michelle could say, what was the emphasis on this corrected policy? Was it duties of the school districts, or was it high school credit application, or?
I was asked by the SDGA to write an alternative policy that was more in keeping with home ed rules and the existing ED 315 rules. It was unfortunate that the timing was so similar that we had JLCAR looking at the new 315 and we had the old one just phasing out. But I wrote it in such a way so that it would be comparable, mentioning that, like, for example, portfolios are the private property of the families and things like that.
Okay.
The policy is available online. I'd be happy to find that and give you a link so that can be part of the notes. SDGA sent it out to all of their members, and my understanding was they also sent it out to all school districts across, all school board members across the state for their consideration, is just part of their discussion process in reviewing whatever the NHSBA sent out to their members. So we don't have any follow-up. We don't know if any accepted ours. Did they accept IH, the one from New Hampshire School Board Association, or some mix of the two? I don't know, but it was just provided as a courtesy for them at their request. Oh, I see Kitty's already got the link there. So you can see what we wrote.
Yeah, so if I go to your site, I'll see it.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah. So the first link is the Granite State Home Educators site, and then the second link is the policy that Michelle put together. And we'll hold off on November's minutes. Can I ask for reports from all of you? What's been going on in your worlds? Jen, do you want to go first?
Yeah, there's really not too much to report here. I think everybody was pretty much busy with Christmas and the holidays and watching the presidential races, and that was their focus.
Indeed.
The only thing I want to mention is that I think we all got a copy of this. It was an Army recruiter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I find that interesting because I was looking for that email today and I can't come up with it. But in the past, homeschoolers who were trying to enlist in the military had a tough time because of the procedures. So I find that kind of interesting because there are people who want to do this. So this looks like it's going to be a good thing for those people.
Yeah, I had received that too. And that, yeah, I had that in announcements. Has anyone heard any feedback? Have you disseminated it out to your people, or?
I responded. There was no particular date or time. He just wanted to know if people were interested.
Yeah.
So I said, sure, I would be interested. Probably could attend the online meeting, but it would depend on the time. And he said, oh, how wonderful. But that was about it.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, oh, great, I should send this to HEAC. And then I looked at the address bar and everybody was already on there. So I went no further.
I think he sent multiple times because I got it for 2 different
Yeah.
sources. Mike is here.
That was, hi, Mike. Glad you could join us.
Thanks. Sorry I'm late.
That's all right. No worries. We're just doing reports now. Steph, would you like to go next? I know you had a couple of questions too.
Yes, and I even ended up with more things. I was also
great.
to apologize for talking too much.
Great.
Usually that if I take notes, I shut up, but all right. So I had several little things that came by. The first one isn't on the list. I've been updating the coalition website and looking at links, and I realized that a problem we had a couple years ago is still going on, and this is with the youth employment certificates. And I remember we just kind of made some improvements a couple years ago in 2019 and then dropped it. The Department of Labor, when the law changed in 2016 to allow parents of children aged 12 to 15 to fill out the certificate for their child to have a job or a volunteer opportunity. The Department of Labor just sort of put that as a little addendum on their notes on their homepage with all the forms. The form still says, there are 2 forms. First one is the one that the employer fills in and gives to the child. That form says, now the child must take it to their school department. So that form is still wrong. Then on their website, there's a form that well, actually they don't have the form for the school to fill in. They've got the form for the parent to fill in, but it's written in such a way, I think it's all one form. Has a place for the school official to sign, has a place for the parent to sign, and doesn't say you only need one of the 2 signatures. In the frequently asked questions, like about the 3rd question into the topic, it says parents can also fill in the form. But the thing is, that's long after the employer has already gotten this form that says the kid has to take it to the school district, blah, blah, blah. We got some of this fixed 2 years ago, and that they didn't even have a form up for parents. Parents were supposed to call the Department of Labor. It was a big, complicated mess. Finally, after 2 months of arguing, we kind of said, okay, at least the forms are up there. At least on the coalition website, we directed people in the right direction. But when I saw this again, it was frustrating. I talked to their main web address. I talked to the deputy commissioner, who I talked to last time, and this time the commissioner, who actually paid attention. And now we've had an ongoing conversation to actually get this thing fixed. And I think the commissioner understands what I explained and you folks may have experienced last year with COVID in 2020. We did not have families contacting us saying, my child has a job, but they can't get the form filled in and blah, 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 because nobody was taking summer jobs. But in 2019 and years before that, it was total chaos. And what often happens when the employer is insisting, no, 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 I need this form from the school. The child says, oh, mom, dad, don't make a big fuss. I don't want to lose my job. So the family ends up complying with something that's not really legally required or as it should be. And this is what I told the commissioner. And I said, you know, you're forcing people to be in this predicament. And I think he understood. So I will keep you updated as soon as they tell me they're making any changes on their website. So that's big interesting thing. Then the other thing, I did want to hear what people thought, if there were thoughts about this recent change by the College Board to drop the SAT subject tests and the essay. That became a big topic of conversation around here. One issue with that, at first it seemed like, oh, this is nice. But a lot of homeschoolers use those SAT subject tests as a way to sort of prove that what they studied on their own during the year is valid. I want to point out, I am not talking about something that can be replaced with CLEP tests. These are kids aiming for the competitive colleges. These are the kids with a 700, perfect 800 SAT scores. They study something on their own. Quite honestly, VLAX classes, community college classes, the level is so low that they don't need to. So they took these SAT subject tests. Apparently now the idea is, okay, they can take the AP test. Problem is, you may remember, year before last, they changed the AP. So instead of just signing up in March, if you suddenly had taken an interest in psychology or US history and you studied it all year, you now have to sign up in November and you have to commit to take that test or not take it. So that makes it very hard for homeschoolers who maybe, well, the classwork doesn't work out as they thought, or maybe get a real interest in something, a friend, a nearby parent, and they start studying a subject, and then May is approaching. It used to be in March, they could sign up. I think I'll take an AP and get a few of these things. So on the surface, I'm just feeling like, is anybody else finding this? We're saying, oh, that's nice, we're free of things, but we're actually perhaps more in the grips of the incredibly far-reaching College Board and making kids feel more as though they've got to go take these accredited courses taught by certified educators, which in my opinion are often done.
That's been the same response that I've heard back. Exactly the same.
I saw you nodding, Michelle. I was very frustrated once I thought it through. Well, something to be aware of so that we can advise people who are looking for options for their kids who really want to study independently but are doing good work. So if they have to do the AP route, or it's very frustrating.
Stephanie, does ACT offer subject area tests? Tends to be more of a Midwest.
So, but that's a good question.
Okay.
My kids have gone to Eastern schools, so they've been more focused on the SAT.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a lot of friends who take the SAT and the ACT.
Right. I mean, they run the world, so it's hard to get them to change.
Yeah, but you know, in the Midwest and places, the ACT does run it. That's a really good point. Let me go look that up. And
I'm sorry I don't have an answer for you, but
yeah, that should be easy to find out. And it may be something we can, you know, people will want to shift towards ACTs. Yep. Because, you know, the competitive colleges are taking the ACT or the SAT.
Right.
Although I do seem to remember they did use the phrase the SAT subject tests in a math or science area, a humanities area, blah, blah. They often required them. But I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see, what else did I say? Oh, self-certifying statements. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
This was just a little detail. It was some years ago. I know Jane Grady worked on it, so I'm guessing about 2010, 2012. We asked the Department of Education to actually put somewhere on their website, and they put it right on the home education homepage, a little statement that said that New Hampshire was a self-certifying state and did not issue a state-issued diploma or graduation credential. The reason this is needed is because the wording in the Federal Student Aid Handbook is a little confusing. It says that you need to have, you know, a state certified, some sort of certificate or a diploma or something, blah, blah, blah. And in one place it will say, unless you can show having completed the requirements according to your state law, or something that's kind of confusing. The point is that New Hampshire doesn't issue something So according to FAFSA rules, you can self-certify because that's what the state wants you to do. It was really nice to have that statement on the DOE site so that parents could fill in a little self-certifying form. There was one there. We have one on the coalition site. There's probably other places. It's not hard. You just say, I certify that my child, blah, 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 has, completed the course of high school. But that way parents could direct college admission officials to the state site where they would see that the state of New Hampshire said, we do not issue a thing, we self-certify, that is how it is done.
Okay.
So anyway, it was taken off the website when they did this new Department of Education website redo, which I'm sure you've seen has made the website very small. They could link it to parts of the old site and make the navigation pretty later on, but they're not doing it. I can show them how, so can Michelle, but it wasn't there. So I talked to Ellie and I said, it really needs to be there. I had several parents contact me and say, what do I do? So they did put one up. So it's there on the home education page near the bottom. So if you have parents wondering what they should do, it's there. And they can also, if they're questioned, they can tell that official to take a look at the New Hampshire page, and that will set their minds at rest. So that was another important thing.
Thank you, Steph. I think Christine, I don't know if George remembers, I think Christine Mukai took like a year or more working on getting that up in the first place. The self-certified.
You mean Chris Hamilton?
Chris Mukai.
Oh, Chris, yeah, okay. Well, she was working with Jane on it too then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know Jane actually wrote the text for it.
Okay.
So that's it for me.
Thank you, Steph, for doing that. That's wonderful. About the self-certifying statement being on there now.
Well, I got requests.
Yeah.
So I looked. Yeah.
And the youth employment certificate. That'll be really very helpful to get that.
I think that will be straightened up I actually could resurrect my old email from 2019, which also gave it a little more power to say, well, here are all the places on the website. And the commissioner sent me some more pages from their website and said, is there anything here to fix?
Wonderful. Mike just put in the comments a link to ACT subject tests.
Yeah, they have reading, writing, science, and math.
Yep.
Science
in
is
a general.
Yeah. It's earth science, bio, and physics.
That'd be kind of.
It's a little bit
the science is like all rolled together.
Right.
Yep.
But reading, writing, and math should be pretty straightforward.
Well, yeah, but you're comparing that to, biology, chemistry, psychology, economics.
Right.
Calculus 1, calculus AB, calculus BC.
Mm-hmm.
Had languages too, and I think history. They had languages, various languages, and I think some history, history test also. I mean, this was a while back, but so the ACT doesn't have very many subject tests compared to what SAT used to have.
I'm trying to do some quick research just to see if I can see if there's anything that's coming to replace these.
What I can just add to that is that my understanding is some of these very competitive college specifically said they wanted the SAT 2 subject test, not ACT subject test.
Yeah,
so it'll depend too on what each university wants. And obviously they'll have to adjust their admission requirements now that these are being dropped. So
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see what they do.
All right.
SAT give a rationale for dropping these tests? I mean, SAT. Did they give a rationale for dropping the various subject tests?
Well, I think they did say in the news release that it was all brought about by the COVID situation when they couldn't seat kids at tests and they did some things remotely. And I can say the tests have gotten over the years, and the AP tests also, to be more and more tests of obscure facts rather than the core of the subject, I guess because they feel that's too easy to be tutored or studied on your own, and kids who have the money to pay for the study services do well, and kids who don't have the money don't do as well, so it's not an accurate test. It's kind of a mess no matter what. I don't like those tests. I just know that homeschoolers could use them.
Hopefully the colleges themselves will have other ways for people to prove competencies.
Maybe those old things when it used to be, I remember how we had to keep changing what we would put out to homeschoolers. Back in the early days, they really wanted like a 40-page portfolio of your work. And there are a few schools that have now gotten almost pickier as the homeschooling laws have lessened. The schools are getting, maybe because they've had a few bad experiences or something, a little skeptical. I know Bates, for your biology and chemistry and physics, they want to see not just what textbook and what did you cover, they want to see all your lab reports. You have to send them in a collection of something like at least 40 lab reports, 30 or something like that. So maybe back at that again. I think what will happen is kids will be forced to take accredited online classes.
I guess time will tell. Well, I'm excited about the employment certificate because I think that's going to go a long way. I wanted to read something from Fred really quickly. He said that there's really no big update from Thomas More College. Our classes are in person and we are all well here. Our homeschooled graduates are making excellent college level students. For example, he is offering a course on Virgil's Georgics to 6 freshmen, 5 of whom were homeschooled, and it's typically reserved for upperclassmen. And the freshmen are already reading Virgil at a faster pace than juniors and seniors have done in previous semesters. He said it's a wonder to see. And so he wanted me to pass that along. And yeah, he just wanted me to pass that along. So I'm passing that along. And that he will be here for our next meeting. Mike, do you have any announcements from your world?
Not announcements, but I didn't know. Have you talked about HB 20, the new bill about school vouchers?
We have not yet.
Okay. I don't know if Ruth is. It's a House bill, but the Principals Association is surprisingly opposed to it, and have put out some talking points. And I guess there's testimony. Excuse me, I'm going to find the email. February 2nd.
Yeah.
And according to the emails I've received, it's a top legislative priority to pass it. It would, what I can do, I'll probably forward you the links.
Okay.
And then if you could distribute that, can I do that? Or I'll just, actually, I'll just put the links into the chat box and people can kind of pull it up.
Okay. I also have an email from Glenn that talks about how to register as as someone who wants to speak, or at least have your testimony registered, or where to send it in.
Yeah.
That should be in the calendar.
Okay.
Because each thing that is listed, it tells you when it's going to happen, and then it gives you a list of what to do to connect with a computer or via phone. So that should be in the regular calendar that you can get off the website.
Okay. That's great. Figured I would just forward everyone what I have as well.
I think Michelle has a lot of that right on Granite State Home Educators, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You have a whole page of how to speak at a hearing, how to join a hearing.
Yes, I'll pull that up and put that in the links. It's basic information that could be applied to any bill. So there's no mention of any specific bill on that document. It just simply has information and links and committee emails and things like that that people can use if they want. I'll
That was what
pull that
Ruth
up.
was maybe referring to,
Yeah.
those same links.
And also sign up if you want to speak. Or
Right.
if you're supporting it, that's very important.
Hmm. Yes, that bill has definitely, it's definitely been a buzz, Mike, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, go ahead and send me those links.
Yeah, I'll try. It's taken me a little while to.
That's okay.
Not on the web. It's not on web pages. It's documents, but I'll get them to you.
Or send later, I'll put it in the minute.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But this, the typical points about money will leave schools, and you can't trust parents to do what's best for their kids, and that kind of stuff. So it looks like looking at it, looks like a very interesting bill that would be very potentially beneficial to homeschooling, and would create a lot of competition for a variety of educational opportunities. You could use it for tutoring, you can use it for extracurricular, you could say take it to another school, gives parents a lot of choices.
Yeah. I imagine the debate about it is going to be really interesting.
Yes, and it would
testimony.
would really lead the nation in that area. It would be the most kind of free-ranging voucher program.
Yeah, it would be. There's I think there's actually, that was also something I was going to say, that there is a hearing, or there's sorry, I'm looking through to try to, there's going to be a talk about it, and once I find that, I will send it to everyone. Just an online meeting if anyone has questions before the hearing comes. There's just going to be an online meeting for people who have questions and want to know more about it if they haven't read the whole thing. So I will make sure that ends up in the minutes. And how's life in schools going in the new year?
Carrying on. There's more and more talk about bringing more kids back into schools, which is good to hear. It still varies very much district to district, but there seems to be more and more evidence that there's very little transmission within the school building and school activities. At the high school level, they're playing basketball, they're wrestling, and granted, they're controlling the schedule a little bit, so they're playing teams back to back and limiting too much mixing. But there's a lot of contact going on, and so far,
those high schoolers, they
not
like
too many
contact.
transmissions.
Wrestling, that's impressive.
It is impressive. Or silly, depending. I mean, even in the best of years, wrestling is a high transmission sport, right?
True story.
But so far so good. We still have cases certainly in Wyndham, but people go home, they quarantine, they come back, and things just kind of keep moving on.
And life is good. Right.
Yeah, that's about it. I think everybody's trying to figure out when we can get back to normal.
Well, let us know when you know.
Yes. Certainly.
But thank you for bringing up HB 22. That was definitely something I wanted to talk about. So thank you. And
Public hearing for that is February 2nd.
yes, February 2nd at 1:30 p.m. if I am not mistaken. 1:15. And you can just go onto the general court website and sign up to speak or sign up to register your testimony. And you can listen in or whatever. You just have to make sure that you sign up. Senator, is there anything else, or is there anything you wanted to talk about are there any bills we need to pay attention to?
Well, the only ones that we have discussed up to this point is to allow charter schools to have first dibs on available school building space. There are some questions that we need to work on. I have a couple of, well, there are quite a few omnibus bills where, 5 or 6 bills are packed together. So we'll see how that goes. But it hasn't really been very much yet.
What exactly does that mean? Does that mean where they might be closing a school and they have a school building, or?
Well, there are school buildings that have space available because the number of kids have gone down and they actually have couple of rooms available.
Oh.
Traditionally, there has been an issue with, well, we can rent that out to office space instead.
Oh.
So it's that little,
Yeah.
we want a competing school in here. But on the other hand, I read a book about the New York system where they have so many different kinds of charter schools, and they have been able to have classes in the same school building as the regular public school. So, it does exist, and I'm trying to find some more information from some people who sent in information to the hearing, follow up on that and find out what actually happens in New Hampshire.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that next charter school in Derry meets in the same building as a public school.
Okay.
Is that?
I don't know. I have to find out. I haven't heard too much. I'm trying to get hold of the guy who is sort of the head of the coalition of charter schools. With my emails to him keep bouncing, so I'm trying to find out how to get hold of him. So.
Right. I could be wrong. Or maybe that was a temporary thing that they were doing. But it's a charter high school in Derry.
Okay.
And I thought they were sharing a building. But I can actually do some research on that and get back to you if that would be helpful.
Okay, that would be great.
Okay. So we already spoke about the Army email that we all received. Did everyone receive an update about Schoolhouse World and the program that Khan Academy is doing with New Hampshire-based? No.
No.
Oh.
No.
Well,
I don't know what you're talking about.
No. Well, let me just, so a few weeks ago, maybe, Sal Khan from Khan Academy partnered with Schoolhouse World, which is, it's schoolhouse.world, and it's a project for online tutoring, for peer-to-peer work, and it's free. And so I will put the link in the comments, and New Hampshire gets to be one of the kind of beta testers for this.
Oh, wow.
I read a news report that said it was more for high schoolers. Is that correct?
I haven't signed up for it yet, but that is my understanding. You kind of sign up and then you get connected with other people kind of either in your area or via subject that you're interested in.
That's Khan Academy's focus mostly, it started with, math and science and things that are harder to do if you get stuck.
Yeah, it says pretty much, it says free tutoring. You'll have the opportunity to sign up for sessions in high school math and reading, or request certain topics that you'd like tutors to offer sessions in. You can even become a tutor yourself. You can share with anyone you like. It's and yeah, it's just operated through Khan Academy. My first link didn't work. Sorry, I'm trying to send a second link. I'm marginally. There we go.
Probably fine.
So that one worked. So yeah, New Hampshire's getting to test it out. So encourage any high schoolers you know to jump in on the bandwagon and test it out and see what they think and send feedback. You can either send it through HEAC and we can give it to the commissioner, or send it directly to the commissioner.
So it goes through the Commissioner of Department of Education?
No, not at all. I just,
No.
the feedback. He's
Just the
interested to
feedback.
have
Oh,
feedback from
okay.
anyone who
Okay.
happens to use it.
Okay.
What I heard is that it is a partnership with the New Hampshire DOE to create this, they called it a free global tutoring platform. And in their news release, it talked more about availability at the high school level, like you thought. It specified high school math, reading and writing, or requesting additional topics and things like that. But they talk, yeah, it did seem to be a rollout program, kind of a beta test of sorts that is in partnership with the Department of Ed.
Yep. And it's free, so.
Yeah, our community was pretty excited initially.
Yeah. So if anyone uses it, let me know how it works and what you think of it. And it's for anyone, not just homeschoolers, or it's just anyone
Right.
who is interested in using it.
Yeah.
It's a free peer tutoring program.
I had one other thing to add at the end of the meeting, or
Yeah.
if you're, I was going through, and looking at your email, and I realized, we really have quite a few blanks on the HEAC right now, unfilled slots. We have the non-public schools and the school administrators and the school boards. And I really think we should try to get somebody to fill in those seats. So I wondered if that was a thing, maybe Kitty sending a message, or one of us. I was thinking about this because, some of these things, like with this IHBG policy, if we had a member from the School Boards Association, it would be nice. And those seats usually used to be filled. Those people didn't always attend, but now that we have a lot of Zoom meetings, and who knows, in the future we may have a mix of different forms of meetings. I was kind of thinking, if you wanted to let, non-public schools are constantly contacting the homeschool group saying, come to our school, take this class, because they make a little money, or maybe then the parents go back to full-time employment and decide to enroll their child in the private school. So having them, they're interested in us, so they could show an interest in how we're doing things. And I really think we could reach out to the administrators and the school boards and say, you're working on policies, we're working on rules and discussing issues that come up. It would be just so much easier and helpful for all of us if you had a member.
I completely agree.
I think we should do that. We should actually contact them and say,
please send us somebody.
Send us somebody, yeah.
It has absolutely been an ongoing conversation between myself and the commissioner, trying to find some people who are willing and able to fill those different roles, including, unschooling New Hampshire, a few other things who are.
Well, I don't worry about the homeschool group so much. I mean, I think if we put it all out saying we need another homeschooling representative, you got to be a member of one group or another. But it's those school officials who then come down hard about something they don't know anything about. That's what I'm.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a liaison to jump up and take the opportunity. But yes, that has been an ongoing conversation.
I didn't know if we reached out to them or what we did, but it'd be nice.
I will reach out again. I'm happy to do that. I haven't done that this year yet, so I'm happy to do that. It would be nice to have some more seats.
Yeah.
So, and if anyone knows of people in other homeschooling communities, I think the requirement is that the homeschool group must be statewide, or have statewide membership.
No, a homeschool group in the state of New Hampshire.
Oh, okay. It doesn't have to be. It's okay if it's regional.
Seacoast. Christian, they're not statewide, they're the seacoast or, we've got other.
Oh,
No, it's just originally the big statewide groups went to HEAC and brought the stuff back to all the different support groups. But now that we all communicate instantly with the internet, it doesn't work the same way.
Yeah.
oh, wonderful. Okay. Because that's something I've also been hoping to do is just have some more homeschool groups represented so it's easier to disseminate information out. So if anyone else wants to put out their feelers to other homeschool groups and see if there are more volunteers who would like to be on the HEAC, I would entertain nominations for sure.
Hmm.
So wonderful. Thank you, Stephanie, very much for taking notes today.
Yes. I type normally, but my computer has to be up in the air so my camera doesn't make me look like a hack.
I have a stack of books under mine. I understand.
Yes. One's on a stool and a stack of books. Yeah. Crazy. Terrible.
Yay, Zoom calls.
Um,
Michelle, is there anything you would like to say as a member of the public? Thank you for attending.
Oh gosh, you guys can't get rid of me. I love coming to these meetings. They're wonderful. It's a chance to connect with folks that I don't get to see often. So it's nice to have you guys back. I know we've been really busy. It's been almost like a second wave of people coming and inquiring and finally deciding that they're going to take the leap into homeschooling. I think a lot of families were giving it their very best try for the first semester through the holidays to see if it would, if they could hang on, if they could make this hybrid remote bounce work for their families, and they're kind of stressed to the limit. So we're seeing a whole another mini wave of people finally taking the plunge into homeschooling with a whole bunch of questions. I think that's perfectly to be expected given how things have been going since the pandemic all kicked in. So no big surprise. We've been busy with that. We're hosting an event tonight on early college planning for students and their families, grades 8 through 11, where that's in conjunction with the NEAF agency. So we've had a few events with them in the past, so we're doing another one tonight at 6:30. So that's exciting. And we're hosting something on February 11th with some people regarding careers in the trades. So that's also a nice opportunity. So our links, it's on Zoom, so they're both free events, just requires pre-registration. So that's exciting. So good things there, keeping busy, making trouble.
And did you want to talk about the VELA grant at all, or the Meet the Moment grant?
Oh, I'm sure some other organizations also were recipients. We received a grant, Granite State Home Educators received a grant to help with our outreach to these families during these COVID crisis moments. That's what the whole purpose of the grant was. It was for organizations working to help families during this particular time. So we've had a few online meetings with people around the country who are doing various things to support their communities. It's not just homeschoolers. We are, obviously, and there's a big segment of VELA grant recipients who are homeschool organizations, but not exclusively. So that's been very exciting to see what different people are doing to support their communities and how they're trying to help families. So it's been a really interesting experience. They just published a little directory that we'll be able to use to help find other people in other states who are doing similar work, and we can brainstorm and see what each other is doing and be inspired and pick their brain on how to do things better, differently, and more awesome. So that's been a very exciting thing. One of the things Granite State Home Educators is trying to do is to do more outreach through the libraries. But that's being a bit hamstrung because they're not distributing what they call outside materials right now. So that's been challenging to try to connect in with them because they're still such an important resource for New Hampshire homeschoolers to begin their search. So we're hoping that as the weather gets better maybe we'll continue our do an outdoor version of our intro to homeschooling sessions. See what we can do about that. But, you know, work it with the libraries, work it with the weather, see what we can do to still help homeschoolers
Where's
connect
that
in.
grant from? You said it was a VILA grant? Is that?
Yep. VELA.
Okay.
VILA was kind of like the center group, and they used different groups to help connect into particular recipients. So for us, it came through HSLDA's Compassion program.
Oh, okay.
So that's how we first heard about it and made our application.
Okay.
But it fundamentally was a VILA program.
Okay. Got it.
We had there's a co-op called the Latitude Learning Resource Center, and we actually were also recipients of it, and we were able to offer some scholarships to families who may not have otherwise been able to go. So that was
Wow.
That was nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
too.
That made me happy.
Yeah.
I realized that I'm kind of a scholarship junkie. I was running the Gunstock Homeschool Ski Program this year, and for every 10 students that pay, you get one free lift ticket for a student who needs a scholarship. And I was able to give out 8 scholarships this year. And that's a great feeling, man. Holy cow. That was pretty awesome. But that's not, that's neither here nor there. But it's fun. If you have an opportunity to give a scholarship to somebody, I highly recommend it. So, yeah, if we don't have anything further, I guess I don't have to entertain a motion to adjourn since we never really started. But thank you, Senator, for bringing Emergency Order 12 to my attention. I will look into that before our next meeting. And I think that's it.
Okay.
So thank you, everyone, for spending some time with us this afternoon. If anything comes up between now and February, we'll have a February meeting. But aside from that, I think we'll just see everyone in March.
Okay.
So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye.